What is up, the YouTubes? It's Ubu, the Tech Guru, and we are live again with episode 8. And how is everybody doing today? I'm so, and their freaking broken uploader. I've been trying to upload a video, and it's just, it's been a total pain in the ass. I have a 5 meg upload, and normally I can upload a video in like even. This one has been going on for 330 minutes, and it still has 68 minutes to go.
Oh.
So hopefully this Google Hangout works and the YouTube servers cooperate. But as usual, if you guys want to, I'm Ubu the Tech Guru, and we have an exciting show for today. And as usual, I have my two compadres with me. We have the Atomic Ass, and we have Osiris of Osiris Tech PC Pimp. Why don't we go through and introduce each other? Tech Guru, the channel and Twitters and whatnot is down below in the description if you want to check. Now we'll go on to the Atomic Ass.
I am the Atomic Ass, and I have a YouTube channel where I review games that run on Linux. I also do Let's Plays, and I can be communicated with most easily on Twitter, at the Atomic Ass, and you can find links to both down in the description.
Woo woo! Yeah, so I'm Osiris, and I too have a YouTube. And on my YouTube, I do a lot of tutorials and gaming type stuff. So if it breaks, I fix it. I also mainly deal in hardware, and fixing hardware and customizing hardware. And I have a Twitter at Osiris. That's where you can find me. That's where I spend my time chilling on the block.
All right. Well, today's show, we do have, let's see, we got 4 topics for this week. And but first, we're going to go into our first segment of the show, which is we have the Atomic Ass in Linux, and lets us know, his verdict on the game, some negatives about the game, and so let's go ahead and Atomic.
Before we do, I think that YouTube upload is killing your bandwidth because you're still glitching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. All right.
I'll verify that.
I guess I will cancel that. 66 minutes remaining. All right, canceling upload. See you later.
Pound by the YouTubes.
Yeah.
YouTube's. Hopefully that fixes the issue. I guess I wasn't totally understanding. My audio wasn't the best. I didn't even think affecting it. I didn't realize. I mean, you should have just spoke up more and said, "Ooh, your quality of the audio." I don't know. I missed that apparently or something. All right, so hopefully that fixed it. I canceled the upload. Just canceled all my porn that I play in the back. Paused all of my torrents of illegal movies that I download. So we should be good on upload on upload bandwidth now. All right, go ahead, Atomic.
Okay, so I picked Borderlands 2 this week.
No way.
Well, this way you two can talk about it.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
Talk about a game that we're playing in Linux. Man. So what do you got to say about it?
Well, it's working pretty good, except for the little hiccup we've had last night, but there was apparently a day 1 issue, but I didn't experience that.
I did. You're talking about where you launch the game, and if you left it sit at the main menu, the game would just crash or close. You're talking about that first day issue?
Well, I haven't let it sit at the main menu long enough for it to crash, so that's probably why I haven't experienced it.
Yeah, that's probably why you didn't experience the crash. Well, I can vouch for the day one issue. Apparently, it was related to the game trying to contact the Shift servers or something like that, and it was timing out, which caused the game to crash. The solution around the issue was basically just to click on any one of the selections in the menu quick enough before the game was able to crash, and it would apparently stop that background process of trying to. But they released a patch, within 24 hours that had solved that crash. And also, there's been, since we're talking about Borderlands 2 and Linux, there's been quite a lot of communication on the Steam forums about Arch users not being able to use shift codes at all. And apparently it has something to do with SSL certificates and where the SSL certificates folder is stored. I guess, on Debian-based distros, it's stored in a certain location, which works with Borderlands 2, but on Arch, they have apparently, or something, where it was preventing Arch users from utilizing shift codes. There is a solution for that in the Steam forums. It's basically creating a symlink, I think, pointing to the correct location on your drive back to the the real Arch location, and the symlink makes it work then. So you can find the solution on the Steam forums if you're using Arch and you're suffering enter shift codes. But otherwise,
well,
go ahead.
Fortunately, I've entered in all the shift codes that I want to, so not an issue.
That's weird. So you used Arch and you didn't have any problem with the shift codes?
No, I entered the shift codes in before the Linux version dropped.
What he's saying
is
smarter than Ubuntu users.
Really? I didn't catch that from that.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. But like you said, they're really, the game has been running excellent. Aspire Media did a great job with this port, and it runs pretty much flawlessly on my desktop via GTX 760, and it's running great. 60 plus out. There, I have noticed a few little micro pauses or stutters every once in a while, but I seem to have solved that by I had tried out the OpenGL optimization command. Again, you can find this information out in the Steam for Borderlands 2 under Borderlands 2 Linux. There's some OpenGL optimization command you can enter if you're running an NVIDIA driver, that it creates some kind of worker thread or something, and I don't know, people have been having, I'm actually not using that, and I changed to unlimited because Ven Stone said that he got rid of the OpenGL and then he also set the frames per second to unlimited. So ever since I've done that, I haven't noticed any of the micro stuttering, and it's been running great. Except for, like you said, last night, I was live streaming and Osiris and Atomic couldn't connect to my game for some reason. It would crash their game, and sure what the reason was. One ended up watching the live stream and did end up joining me, playing with me. So we're not really sure into having Osiris or Atomic connect to me in my Borderlands game again. So hopefully it's not an ongoing issue, and we'll get to play together again.
Yeah, even on the AMD card, which is not officially supported with my 290X, I haven't had too many issues. Matter of fact, I pretty much have had all the same success and same problems that you guys have had as far as gameplay is concerned. So you got to give it to Aspire. I mean, Aspire for
Aspire.
creating a good, not a good port, but a great port, and like hopefully other porters or developers follow their footsteps because we need more of this. And I think I heard it on last Linux Action Show, and I think they nailed it on the head. This is definitely, most definitely the Linux game of the year. There's just no denying that.
Well, I mean, it's going to be surpassed by the pre-sequel.
Oh, yeah, I forget things.
Because, you know,
It's the current Linux game of the year.
Right? Yeah. Until for 7 more days, or no, 6 more days.
Well, I mean, we don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna. We can't just say that the prequel is gonna just be so great. It might be absolute complete garbage. I doubt it, but I just wanted to say that.
Since we're talking about it, I will. Yeah. Since we're talking about it, I guess I will comment. For those of you that don't read the Steam forums, one of the developers at Aspire Media did comment and say that in their testing, the pre-sequel, you know, the same as far as disparity between the Windows version and the Linux version. I did some benchmarking using the frames per second counter, and in Windows I was getting around 130 frames per second when it's unlimited, and in Linux I was getting around high 60 frames per second. So or someone else on the Steam community forum, if the disparity between the game quality in the pre-sequel, as it is in Borderlands 2, and the developer of Aspire Media said that it is the same. So, I mean, we can at least expect the same type of quality port in the pre-sequel that we're seeing with Borderlands 2, because I think the port, is excellent. And even though they claim right away they don't support Intel graphics, there's still a lot of success with those cards. As Osiris pointed out, he runs a 290X, and he's able to play, without much hassle.
There's something weird about that. So you have a 760, Atomic has a 750, both NVIDIA GTXs, and I have an AMD 290. We all get roughly the same performance, regardless of other hardware variables, and regardless of the fact that we have almost all completely different tier cards. I wonder if they locked it in that way to prevent problems or to fix a problem. That just seems kind of weird to me, because I get about 200 to 300 frames per second on Windows, and about 60 to 70 on Linux, sometimes dipping into the 40s. It just seems kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that 3 different tier level cards all hit the same mark. Is what I'm saying. So it's almost like they capped it, even when it's not capped.
Yeah, that's true. Atomic and I kind of talked about this a little bit as well. I was baffled on why he was getting around the same frames per second as I was, and he only has a 750 Ti. But he did point out architecture, which, granted, it's the 750 Ti is below the 760 in terms of the progression of the graphics card series, but and with Maxwell.
I don't buy that.
I mean,
Let me tell you why I don't buy that. Because if you take the Windows standard, which is the reason I say Windows standard here is because they're extracting the most amount of performance as possible to sell these cards. The 750 still does not come close to the 760. The 760 is still a tier higher, no matter how you look at it, than the 750. Performance-wise, compute-wise, and everything else. Now, there's advantages to having the Maxwell 750 because of the power draw and all that, but the 760 still definitely more of a card than the 750 is with pure performance. There's something going on, I believe, with this game, and I say this game and not Nvidia because Nvidia's graphics stack pretty much parodies each other on Windows and Linux. Uh, so they did. So I feel like they did. Not that it's a bad thing. I just feel like they did something to limit the performance.
Yeah,
Because maybe
I guess that's a possibility. I never even thought of that. Yeah.
I mean that's a common thing to do. They like I think even most of the Steam games. I mean not Steam, but Valve games actually frame cap because if an engine goes over a certain amount of frames per second, it'll go like fuck haywire and start acting weird. So maybe there's an issue in Linux and Mac. I can't say Mac, but I'm assuming Mac because it's mostly the same game, and that's what they did. I just find it really odd that we all get the same performance, like roughly the same performance. I know why I get poor performance, but
Yeah.
we're not gonna go into
Good old,
that.
good old AMD Linux drivers.
Yeah, don't get me started on that right now. I'm mad all over again.
I wonder if Phoronix did a benchmark yet with Borderlands 2 because he's got a million freaking graphics cards. I'm hoping that he does some kind of benchmarking with all the various cards, and he can, possibly show us, what each of the cards are getting, and if they're getting all around 6, you're right. Maybe they capped somehow, within the I files or something. They capped it. I don't know.
That'd be interesting. We could tweet him and see what he says. For that to happen, he would have to write that into his Phonic test suite because for the most part, I'm pretty sure he doesn't do any like freehand benchmarking. Freehand meaning that there's no built-in benchmarking, which means like the guys who actually do Battlefield 4 benchmarking for multiplayer have to try to simulate the same thing over again with each test.
Right.
And I'm sure he's not going to do that. Not with 35 cards. That'd be insane.
Right. Well, maybe he'll add Borderlands 2 as a benchmark to his suite because he's got benchmarks in there for
But those are
games.
automatable. If Borderlands 2 is automatable, then yes, I would assume he would do that. But I don't know if Borderlands 2 is automatable. It's very easy to automate all the Valve games, for sure.
What? Why do you say that? Or how do you know that?
It's got a built-in like recorder that'll record like the gameplay and then play it back the exact same way. It's not video playback either. It's rendered playback, real-time render.
Oh, okay. So that's why he's able to incorporate that into his test suite because it's already done in the Valve source code.
Yep.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
On so many levels, they do everything right. They don't stop winning. Yeah, but I agree with this pick because I mean, there's been some other AAA titles or arguable AAA titles, but combined with the fact that the game is just fun, it looks great, it runs pretty damn good considering it's a great port, and now we get to do what those other guys on the other side have been doing with them actually without no limitations is an excellent milestone in Linux gaming. So kudos to Borderlands 2.
Yep, I think they did a great job. One of the things that they did do with the game that I don't know if everybody is aware of, they added in code to ping your, it runs like an LSPCI command, and then it determines your graphics card and to find out what chipset it is, and then it sets certain variables in the INI file, most notably the dynamic lighting, the dynamic shadows, and the light environment shadows. Those read true or false based on certain hardware profiles. And I know that Atomic, you checked your INI that file, and your dynamic lights was set to off, was set to false, right?
I
I thought
don't
when
know
you
if
looked
I
at
checked.
yours, it was set to false.
I don't think I checked dynamic lighting.
Where's Zubu?
I think we're having issues here with the podcast. Osiris, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
I think your connection is just
Hello?
going
Yeah, I think he's
bad.
getting dumped on. It's like breaking up. So,
My connection is?
yeah, it's you.
Yeah.
You're getting like your audio's becoming very digital.
That sucks.
Now your video's gone. And your
Yeah,
video.
it disappeared.
Yeah, so that's how it is for you guys. You guys are like that as well for me.
Yeah, but me and Atomic can hear each other just fine.
It keeps freezing.
You got something going on your network or something's going on.
Huh.
We're losing our satellite link to Ubu here.
We're broadcasting live from the underground. From the Linux undergrounds. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I'm being DDoSed.
Nah, I doubt that.
I don't know. Should we continue or what?
Until it quits, and then I guess we'll start it. Is he still there?
I'm getting hit from IP 142.4.211.84. Hello? Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh.
I heard the IP. Everybody out there, go and hit that
you guys
IP
still there?
address. Knock it off the internet.
Isn't that a crime or something?
Yes.
Not if you're doing it in retaliation.
Oh. Alright, we'll take your word for it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, man, this sucks. I don't know what to do.
I don't know. Better than you than me. It's usually me. Usually my internet connection is giving up on me.
Well, that explains why you couldn't upload to YouTube.
Yeah, you might have something going on in your ISP or your network, your ISP's network.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, cable companies have many virtual and physical networks that you get to pass through to get to the internet.
Yeah, we only have we got one person watching. I think it's fixed. You guys, can you hear me?
It's better, yeah.
Yeah, I think whatever the issue was, they're not pounding me anymore, I don't think.
Well, that's good. I'm sure you feel better now.
Right? The IP is, according to my router log, it's 142.4.211.84, and it says they were TCP packets, and there's to various ports on my no, to the 60027. It must be those torrents that I had that download all the porns from the internets.
Mm-hmm.
They're still trying to seed from me because I stopped my torrent server. That's probably.
Is it completely closed? They shouldn't be trying to seed from you if it's completely closed.
All the torrents are paused.
No, you need to close the program.
Yeah, it keeps the connections open even if you pause all
You need to actually close the program. And that YouTube channel, that YouTube tab, you need to actually close that too. If you the one that was uploading, if it's not closed.
Yeah, that one was closed. That's gone.
But torrents are notorious for taking over your network, whether they're running or not.
Well, I've never had Chromecast, and I've never stopped. Transmission is the torrent server I run. Transmission, and I've never had an issue in the past.
I don't know what to tell you, but I agree with Atomic. I've used torrents, and they can act volatile and weird. They can do whatever they want to unless you completely go through everything and lock everything down.
All right, transmission daemon. The transmission daemon is stopped. I don't know if that'll fix it, but hopefully it will. So where were we? We were talking about Borderlands
Much
2.
better, instantly.
We were talking about Borderlands 2 and the performance with the dynamic lighting. Did you say you didn't check? Did you check your INI file, Atomic, for whether yours was set or not?
The only thing that I checked in my INI file was to enable the console, so I could get a FPS output. But
Gotcha.
Didn't you tell me to check mine also?
Yeah, I thought you checked yours because I wanted to see. Right. Yours was off. Yep, yours was false.
I should turn it on and see what happens.
Well, people are enable it. Their frames per second. This guy has a 290 when he's running Catalyst 14.9. Once he turned on the dynamic light settings, his frames per second dropped to 40 frames per second. Whereas if he didn't put what he gets when it's off. But yeah, that is bullshit.
I'll tell y'all.
The file, local. I think it's the hidden folder, local, then share Borderlands 2 Willow game config, and then it's I want to I or Willow engine INI that has the dynamic. Let's see.
It's Willow engine.ini.
Is it okay? It's all right. Willow engine.ini.
While you're doing that,
so if I look at that,
I just want to make a public service announcement that this is complete nonsense on the part of AMD right now, where you can't even play games, regular games. And these are not even it's not Star Citizen. This is not BioShock Infinite. It's not games that are hard to play. This is a 2-year-old game, I believe. When did it come out? 2011, 2012.
2012. It came out about 2 years ago, actually. September of 2012.
So it's a 2-year-old game, at least.
Yep.
And they don't even support. They can't even get their graphics card supported. Not even one, not two, not the latest version, not a super old version. None of their graphics cards are supported by this game because of reasons, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if anybody who's on Windows who wants an, all right, I don't care what you have. If you want a 290X, shoot me an offer. And that's not the regular 290X. This is a Republic of Gamers Matrix 290X Platinum. I'm willing to take offers. I consider any offer. It's ridiculous.
Well, you know, Jay's going to have a whole bunch of 780s lying around pretty soon.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Osiris. He should make him an offer to trade.
I think I will. I just want to play my games. I'm not gonna say I almost want to say I'm not a super tech nerd. I just like to do things with tech. But when it comes to games, I like to just play games. I don't want to be fiddling with stuff to get the game to work. The simple stuff the game should already be working, you know? Not that the NVIDIA is not without their own problems, because they definitely got their own problems. But for the user part of it, it's mostly transparent. And I will happily support AMD again in the future once they get their driver stack in order.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm actually looking at my INI file, and all my dynamic lights, dynamic shadows, and light environment shadows. One that is false is composite dynamic lights, whatever that means. That's set to false. So I don't know. I just thought I'd mention it since we are talking about Borderlands 2 Linux performance, and those of you that have unsupported cards, whether it's Intel or AMD, if you're interested in fiddling with some advanced stuff. I mean, it's not really advanced, I guess, but check out your on your home drive, home folder, and see if those are set to false or set to true, and it's in your gaming experience. Something to maybe look into. That's all I wanted to mention. So basically, you want to finish. Borderlands 2 for Linux Atomic. Go ahead, finish the segment.
Yeah, it works pretty well. For those of you who haven't been watching Ubu's streams, we started playing this on Sundays. I want to say May or June. It's been a while ago.
Yeah, we were playing it on Windows, obviously, up
Yeah.
until just recently when it came out for Linux last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or Tuesday. Yep. Because I actually gave away Borderlands 2 Steam key last week to Techie Rod was the winner.
Techie Rod.
I don't see him in the chat. Damn it, Techie Rod! You said you'd be here.
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, is he?
He just hasn't said anything. He's being incognito.
Incognito. All right. Okay. Well,
So,
that covers.
with the exception of
With the exception of.
Yeah.
Leave us in suspense.
with the exception of PhysX, the Linux version pretty much has feature parity with Windows, as far as I can tell, and it looks the same, plays the same, except for a few minor issues that are getting fixed.
Yeah, but we also need to understand and realize that 2 years ago there was zero commercial, high profile commercial games on Linux. So we've definitely came a long way, and I'm not going to dig them too much for some of the problems, the minor nags that are there. I think everything will fall into order as time passes.
Yeah, I guess one last thing to point out about the game. There is a couple of issues that are still being worked on. One of them is not being able to be able to crouch. Mac, the control to like a modifier because where the mice only have one button, so the controller or something. So the Linux port has a limitation where you can't bind to the control key, and then the extra buttons on mice, like buttons 4 and 5, can't be mapped to at all either. They've already fixed that bug in the pre-sequel, and once the pre-sequel gets released, they're going to go back and watch out for Borderlands 2 to fix, so you can bind to mouse 4 and 5 buttons. So those are the major bugs, besides the one they already patched with, trying to contact the shift servers.
According to, damn it, his name escapes me at the moment, but according to one of the developers at Aspire, I keep saying Aspire, most of the Linux version was actually the port from Mac, and they say they took the port from Mac and then ported it to Linux. Just a little FYI. I think that was cool, but I tweeted them back and told them it doesn't even matter, because whether Mac or Linux, I'm just happy that they're not locking in games for one platform, because even though they hold majority market share, there's other people out there. Oh, his name is Ian Bullard at Ian Bullard on Twitter, and just happy that they're not locking in games to a single platform for whatever reason they want to. Now, if we can just get these developers to get out of the mindset that DirectX 12 is God's uh, gift to gaming APIs, well, there'll be a much better world. Because the majority of the rest of the world uses OpenGL. Only Windows uses DirectX. So stop making DirectX only games, please, and everything will be better. And if you don't believe me, go check out the Unreal Engine 4 using OpenGL. It's ridiculous.
And Ubu's gone out to the store to buy batteries.
That's what happens when you use console stuff on your PC.
Yeah.
You got a controller and an Xbox headset. Boo!
And you know what we hear every time he plays Borderlands, a first-person shooter?
Click, 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 click.
click.
Uh,
Damn it, Ubu, join the keyboard mouse master
looking for a
race.
mechanical keyboard. I haven't decided on one. I think I'm gonna get the Thermaltake. I think it is Thermaltake TTE Esports Poseidon Z. It's only like $60 for a good mechanical keyboard with blue backlights.
Which switches?
They're the new Khalil Blues, which everybody says are the performance-wise the same as the Cherry MX Blues.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys.
I know a lot of people would probably say, yeah, I don't know about that. It might be a knockoff or blah 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 blah. But I've read numerous reviews from numerous sites and numerous user reviews, and everybody pretty much agrees that yeah, they're knockoffs, but you wouldn't know any difference if you were just typing on it. So.
Do you do more typing or gaming?
I do more typing.
Oh.
Yeah, I do. I would say I probably do more typing.
Yeah. The blues are good for typing, and they're okay for gaming, but I've since switched to a red switch keyboard, and I find it quite a bit better for gaming.
Oh, really? Why is that?
The red switches are linear and the blues are tactile.
Well, here's my issue, which I think it might seem stupid, but I think the manufacturers of these keyboards should consider this. I have everything that's in my computer area is blue. Like the computer case is blue. I mean, it's a black computer case with blue LEDs. The GPU has blue LEDs. My audio interface has blue. All my monitors have blue lights on them. I just want a keyboard that matches that. I don't want and plus I just don't want red because red is to me.
Well, you don't see the switch stems.
No. But the LEDs are always red for red switches, or they're RGB. I'm not buying an RGB keyboard because they cost too much. Like premium price on the RGBs are too high. So,
dude, I don't know about you guys, but I got just this freaking cheapo Dell freaking. You
need to upgrade.
I don't know what kind
of membranes.
It's an old Dell PS2 connection. It's not even. Oh
God.
Yeah.
And it's not even PS2 for a reason either. It's just PS2 because it's old.
It's old. Right.
Oh.
Yep.
Nah, but check it out yourself. Blue switches usually have blue LEDs. Red switches usually have red LEDs. I don't know why they do this. I don't even see why they're related, really.
That is strange.
Yeah, just because of reasons. So that's my reason for getting the Poseidon Z, if I do get it. So I will find out soon enough. Logitech, though, has proprietary switches in theirs, which I don't really know what that means, but they make a nice keyboard. If I don't get the Poseidon, since I'm a Logitech fanboy, I'll probably get the Logitech one. And they came out with a new one that is awesome. Like you can even plug your smartphone into it. as a LCD screen for your keyboard, and it shows you stuffs like your temperature and all that. Now I'm sure most of that only works in Windows, but it doesn't matter because it's awesome.
Wait, it shows you the temperature of the keyboard?
Nah, man, the temperature of your computer.
I know, I'm
Hopefully,
just kidding.
at the temperature of your keyboard is something else but ambient temperature. I don't know what you're doing on your keyboard, but that's your business. But anyhow, yeah.
I don't know. All this talk about mechanical keyboards and cherry red switches and whatever else from Linus Tech Tips about all these different keyboard switches, and personally, I don't know what all the hubbub is about, but that's just me. I mean, everybody has their own thing.
You got to try it.
On one, or even just type on one.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's the same with, once I got my GTX 760, and I was previously using, an 8400 GS.
What?
And I was getting 15 per second, and
1992?
I didn't know, Yeah, right? I suppose I don't really know until I try it, But I mean, I do I do have this awesome SteelSeries mouse that I actually won off of a Twitter poster or something, and unlike any Linux software for, to be able to utilize the mouse fully.
It's weird that Drink doesn't work in Linux. My Logitech G400, what is this? A G400? Yeah, I think this is a regular G400. All the buttons work, everything works just fine. Even the
wait. I mean, when you say work, I mean I can't map buttons. That doesn't work. That's what I'm talking about. You can push the button on.
I can.
If that's what you mean.
I can map buttons in games.
No, he's saying he can't run the software for the mouse.
Besides mapping buttons, what does the software for the mouse actually do?
Change DPI settings, change profiles.
Yeah. You can set up different profiles. I mean, my mouse, it does have an onboard, I believe, and it's able to store profiles in it.
Yeah, it does.
Right now, the button that's on it, I can push it, and stick the mouse once I push the button, and then I have it set on. So those are stored in there, but I can only manipulate those settings within Windows. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Because I have a similar issue with my Logitech G110 keyboard. I have all these lights and macro keys and all this stuff that's pretty much useless because they don't send normal key commands to the operating system. It doesn't do me any good. I think by default they actually end up being F keys. So I got 2 sets of F keys. No, that's only in Windows. They're only F keys in Windows. In Linux, they're nothing. They don't do anything.
Oh.
A matter of fact, I think
it's over USB. If you ran some kind of USB logger, you could see what kind of command or what it's sending.
Atomic showed me a keylogger, and when I tried it, it didn't send normal commands to the operating system. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
But we've talked about this before. It's great that Steam brought gaming to Linux now, and it was great that the Linus got NVIDIA to get their shit in order. But now we need to get these hardware manufacturers to realize that even though there's still a small segment of PC or Linux PC gamers, there's still a huge amount of revenue to be made, and we need at least one product out of their product line to support Linux in some capacity, or just give us the generic version that just works hardware-wise. I don't even need software. I don't even care for the software. I don't need another service or daemon or whatever running on my desktop at all. Just make it work from that product alone, and I'll be happy with that.
Right. Yep. All right. So did we even make it into our first topic?
No, but I think we should.
No. Yeah, exactly. Let's start talking about, or go through the topics here. The first one is actually Atomics found this. Why don't you go ahead, Atomic?
So Adobe has brought out Photoshop for Chromebook. I suppose that they're trying to move their creative suite to the cloud, or have. I haven't really kept up with what they're doing, to be quite honest with you. And
So
yeah,
now you can create the awesome images on your Chrome.
yes, you can paint the nipples on the porn actor in a Chromebook now.
So, does anybody know that? I mean, this is the 100% full version of Photoshop. Like, you got all the features and bells and whistles and all that included.
It doesn't seem to say. It might be
It
cut
says
down.
it's a streaming version of Photoshop. Whatever that means. Streaming
Yeah, whatever that means.
version. I don't know.
Yeah, because
It's designed to run straight from the cloud,
reason I
basically.
asked that-
So it's a version of cloud.
because depending on what you're doing, Photoshop can consume quite a bit of resources. And let's just say they're running it from the cloud, and it is the 100% full version of Photoshop. That would be a lot of bandwidth if they're doing all the compute on their end. But I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand how this works. Because there's been slim versions of Photoshop already. I think Android has a slim version, even like a super slim version, obviously, but a slim version.
I don't even bother with Photoshop because I'm not paying for software. I just use the GIMPs. The GIMPs works
for me. The GIMP is good enough.
Depending on, it's funny when I see graphics designers, mention Photoshop on Twitter. I always mention the GIMPs, and they just kind of blow me off, whatever.
But you have to understand though, also, like
I wish we had somebody that was knowledgeable enough that could tell us, is Photoshop? Can anybody honestly
yes,
truly say that?
It's just like LibreOffice to Word. I mean Microsoft Office, and it's like Blender. Well, no, I am not gonna say Blender, but it's like LibreOffice to Microsoft Office. Photoshop GIMP is comparable to Photoshop, but it's missing the workflow, and some of the tools, and it's also missing the base, the user base. So if you're a graphics designer and you're getting into graphics, 98% of the people out there are going to be using Photoshop. So when they teach you how to use something, they're going to be teaching you how to use Photoshop. When you go to work in a workplace, they're going to be using Photoshop. And then when you explain to your customers what you use, you want to tell them that you're using the Premiere in the photo editing, which is Photoshop. So it'll be hard for a GIMP ever to topple that reign that Photoshop has for so many reasons, not just one. Which I don't really care about, because if I was Photoshop, Adobe, I would pursue this cloud issue or cloud thing and eventually bring it to as many platforms as possible. That way, being OS dependent is not an issue anymore. Because I feel like in the future, maybe 5 years or so, operating systems they're already becoming less and less important. What is the reason that Windows was so important 5-10 years ago? It's because Microsoft Office was on Windows. The most important thing that was on Windows was Microsoft Office. Now what's important on Windows? Nothing. There's nothing except for professional tools. There's nothing important. Like, by professional, I'm talking about like Photoshop and Premiere Pro and what else? Like 3D editing programs. I can't think of them right now. But even Maya is on Linux. So
yeah.
So
apparently one of the, I don't know, just quickly, one of the advantages of Photoshop is that it Pantone color scheme, which GIMP does not. And for a lot of web designers, that's the deciding factor in
what?
choosing Photoshop over GIMP.
The what scheme?
Pantone color scheme,
No idea what that is.
print and digital colors. Apparently,
Okay.
I mean, I'm just reading it from a web page that I just quickly looked up. Photoshop compared to GIMP. Which one is better for you?
I've done like shirts and stuff locally for friends and stuff. And I can tell you, I've seen a tutorial for the exact same thing, doing the exact same process. To be 100% honest with you, Photoshop is easier to use. It's more mature. The tool set is a bit better. Now, 99% of everything that you can do in Photoshop, you can do in the GIMP also. So it just depends on what your level of dedication is to open source and free, and how much work you're willing to do to promote that, and how much money are you willing to spend, obviously, because Photoshop's not cheap. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to the base to get it.
Right. Another thing that they're saying is GIMP requires about 1/20th as much hard drive space as Photoshop. So apparently Photoshop's bloated as hell or something. I don't know.
Apparently, I can tell you for a fact, Adobe anything is bloated as hell because it's they don't like streamline any code. They just keep adding to that shit for like since 2000. 1990 something. How long has Adobe been around? Forever.
Yeah.
I don't think they've rewritten anything that's in their arsenal of programs.
If you strip down the code enough, you can probably find Photoshop 1 in there somewhere.
I guarantee it. That's the way they operate. All of them. Adobe, Microsoft, all of them.
Oh, and Jay says you look like Dave Chappelle.
Oh, really? Osiris looks like Dave Chappelle.
That's not the first time I've heard it. That's why it's so funny.
The hat makes it happen, man.
Thank you, sir.
Nice.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
All right. So, I don't know. Do we expect to see more of Adobe's products going to the cloud? Is that pretty much what we're supposed to take away?
Yes, definitely. Creative Cloud has been a thing for Adobe for a couple years now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's amazing that it works on something as low end. I don't know if it's low end, but lower end as a Chromebook, which means they're doing more processing on the cloud. But that's good for us because if they wanted to, they could port it to Linux some kind of way. Hopefully.
Yeah. All right, cool. So that covers that. Our next topic we have is the Xbox One controller will now be supported in kernel 3.17. Whose topic is this? Atomic?
Not mine, because I don't have an Xbox One controller.
All right. Well, I don't need. But who? Oh, Cyrus, did you put this in here?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Oh my god.
But I'll read it. It doesn't matter.
All right. Well, who wants?
I'll read it.
Okay. Yeah. Go for it. Take the topic.
All right. So as of the newest version that I know of Linux kernel 3.17, they have added kernel support or driver support to regular people of the Xbox One controller. The only thing that's the caveat for this is that there is no vibration support or rumble support for it as of yet. And so otherwise it works just like the Xbox One, the Xbox 360 controller.
Yeah, which actually I know I'm going to get flamed for this, but I actually still use an Xbox 360 controller to do my gaming in Linux. And all of you out there can flame me all you want, but I've tried to master the keyboard and mouse gaming with fast-paced first-person shooters, and it's just I haven't learned learned it yet. So of course I'm still going to go back to what's comfortable and what makes me enjoy a game, and which is using a controller. Sue me. I'm from the console. I'm a console, person. That's where I originally started gaming, was in console.
What?
And controller just kind of feels natural to me to use.
Well, you know how they have the Arch Challenge, right? You've heard of the Arch Challenge? Okay,
No.
that doesn't matter then. It's irrelevant. All right, so we're going to give you, we need to give you the KB Mod Challenge, which is the keyboard, mouse, or die challenge. And what you need to do is spend, let's see, what's reasonable? 2 weeks, a month, and force yourself to become get the muscle memory necessary to play with the keyboard and mouse, because that's all it really is. You're used to the controller, so therefore
Right.
your muscle memory just is natural to for the controller. So you have to force yourself onto the keyboard, because I quit playing PC games for a while when the Xbox, I don't want to say one, but the original Xbox came out all the way through most of the Xbox 360 lifespan. And when I came back to PC, I was like, oh shit, this is very unnatural and uncomfortable. But I refused to use the keyboard and mouse because I was getting slaughtered and destroyed, and I just think in the end it's just much better. Plus, you have such an excellent mouse right there in front of you.
This is true. Yeah, I mean, my problem is I didn't give it a realistic effort or that much of an effort, but I did try. I installed I installed Battlefield 4 on my Windows PC, and I went into the game. I set up my mouse with various, I mapped some of the buttons for like grenade and crouching, mouse and keyboard, and I was just getting killed over and over. Like, I could not aim, at people, and it sucked, and I was not having fun. So why continue to do that when I can simply pick this up, be great, be good, or have fun at least. So I don't know. I mean, I do use the keyboard. I use the keyboard for games like Fistful of Frags. That's a kind of first-person shooter engine game, and I use the keyboard and mouse for that. I use the keyboard and mouse for Team Fortress 2, for Rust, and for plenty of games. But it seems like the ones that require much more finesse, like with movement and stuff, I still use the controller because, like you said, it's more comfortable. And I don't know if I accept your challenge, basically, is what I'm saying.
Gotta do it, man.
Trying to convert me to a keyboard and mouse gamer.
But I think in the long run, you'll enjoy it much more. I just prefer, once I got over my Xbox controller addiction for the number of years I was using Xbox, I find being using the keyboard and mouse just to be. Now, yeah, I think the keyboard is definitely still less comfortable than the controller, but the advantage of the mouse overrides that. That's where the real power is, in the mouse.
Right. Yeah. The quickly being able to turn all the way around, with just like and being able to shoot somebody and turn on them or whatever. The controller does give you much more finite control over your character. I mean, I can't obviously disagree with that, but it's just a matter of, like you said, since the controller is what I'm most comfortable with, that's what I'm going to usually pick up and play with. But I'll definitely keep trying the keyboard in games like Fortress 2 and other faster-paced kind of first-person shooter games, just to try to get my level of comfortableness up there. So I'll
Yeah, go for it. I think you'll enjoy it more in the long run, but nobody's judging you. I'm just saying. We're just gonna keep poking fun at you till you switch
exactly,
over.
Right? Which is, hey, fine with me, whatever.
But that's good. But anyhow, I mean, at the end of the day, this is great news, obviously, for Linux gamers. Now, I don't know. I don't even know if this is so much of a big deal because I don't even really know if anybody's actually out there looking for Xbox One controllers. Like with the release of the Xbox One, PC gamers can easily go pick up an Xbox 360 controller for dirt cheap, brand new. Which I actually recommend because almost everything supports the Xbox 360 controller. Windows supports it natively, Linux supports it natively, and obviously the Xbox supports it natively. So go get your Xbox 3 controller, be happy, forget about this Xbox One stuff. But if you just have to be the latest and the greatest guy, well, now it's being supported.
Yeah, or if you happen to maybe you're new into gaming and you have an Xbox One and you're converting over to PC gaming, with kernel 3.1 Xbox One controller, with PC gaming, if it's good news for people that use a controller. So, yeah.
Just so you know, I do have two of them because some games need to be played with a controller, though. And not only that, I have a Call of Duty Black Ops one. Super sacrilege.
Damn!
Super sacrilege. But it's good. It's all good. I don't worry about who plays on what. I've seen guys like completely massacre people with controllers on PC, regardless of what popular belief is.
Oh, there was when I got super into Crisis 3, there was somebody that was his keyboard and mouse working on an Xbox, poning people with his keyboard and mouse. I don't know if that's true. If you just plug in a keyboard and a mouse on the Xbox 360 and have it work.
Yes. Now, if it works in games, it's a different story. It works on the Xbox operating system, no problems at all. I've used it myself because I hate typing with the controller. Controller typing is ridiculous. Like when you go to type people messages on Xbox.
Oh yeah, it's a total pain in the ass.
So I plugged in the keyboard.
The stupid moving the little square around to each of the letters, like down, up, down, left, 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 left. Yeah, that's a total pain in the ass.
And I hate.
But I've never tried to just plug in my controller and keyboard in the 360.
I hate text messaging, and that's not that bad. Just imagine doing that. Like Xbox texting is horrible on the controller. But yeah, you can just plug in any USB keyboard for the most part, and as long as it's USB compliant, and it just works. And the mouse does for some things. There's actually some games that actually formally support keyboard and mouse. Now they're very rare. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that was true either, but I just thought I'd mention it. Whatever. All right, moving along to the next topic. It was a topic that I actually put in here that you know how I randomly came across this, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Gomersbach. Gomersbach is a Gomers.
A Germantown.
Gomersbach.
It's probably Gummerbach. Gummerbach.
Well, if I look lower in the article, it says Gumersak is a city with about 50,000 inhabitants in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. But anyway,
I don't know where you're getting that.
In the article, it's down at the bottom under Foresight.
Shit, sock.
The article down at the bottom under Foresight.
S-A-C-H is how it's spelled at the bottom.
Yeah, so it's a different spelling than what they have as the article title.
I think
for
that's
whatever
a typo.
reason. So I don't
as
know.
a person who lived in Germany, I'm almost certain it's something to the effect of Gummerbach.
Okay. All right. Anyway, this city, which, like I said, has 50,000 inhabitants, they have converted from Windows. They state they've converted from a proprietary operating system to Linux. So that's, I mean, I just thought it'd be a cool article to discuss. The city sent out a statement to Pro Linux, which is a German Linux news site, announcing that they completed their migration project from from a proprietary operating system to Linux. They're running a version of let's see, what do they say? Mate, which I know Cyrus is familiar with Mate because it's one of the desktop environments for Linux Mint. Mate is similar to GNOME 3, isn't it? Or is it a fork of
It's a fork of GNOME 3.
GNOME?
I mean GNOME 2. GNOME 2.
2? All right. Well,
GNOME
anyway.
And Monte.
So basically, they've converted. They say that they now use 300 thin clients that all run their retrieve. Let's see, they run their desktop and applications are retrieved from a SUSE Linux terminal server cluster of 6 servers, and the desktop environment is Mate, like I said, and the C suite for their office productivity tools, and they use Open Exchange for their email, instant messaging, and calendaring. And now, Open equivalent of Osiris.
What was that? Open Exchange?
Open Exchange is the equivalent to Microsoft Exchange, right?
Yeah, the Exchange server. I think it's
Okay.
something that's compatible with it, so I can talk to it.
So
give me 1 second.
So anyway, I thought it was kind of cool.
I find the thin client mentioned very interesting as well, because just about everywhere that I've worked that's had PCs out on the floor, different warehouses and such, they'll put a full desktop down on the floor, and then all it does is thin client work anyway, because you're pulling all your applications off of the server, or it's run over RDP.
Right.
So that actually makes a lot of
So
sense for them to do that.
It's like
No.
Yeah.
I was
Go ahead.
completely wrong. Open Exchange is a well, according to Wikipedia, they develop, market, and sell web-based communication, collaboration, office productivity software, which enables full integration of email, documents, scheduling, and social media. The company is privately owned. It's a company that does productivity type stuff.
Yeah, but it's the open source alternative to Microsoft Exchange, right?
No.
That's what it says right here. What do you mean?
It's a Microsoft alternative to Microsoft's solutions, more or less. It doesn't say exactly.
Wikipedia's then.
Open-X, like letter X, change.
Yep.
Yeah. So the first paragraph says that they make web-based communications, collaboration, office productivity, enable full integration of email, documents, scheduling, and social media. But basically, they do what Microsoft does with their suite, not their email. Their suite includes Office, email, and all the garbage that Microsoft gives you. The extra stuff. That's why Microsoft is so successful now. It's not because of one thing or another. It's because they offer complete business solutions, whether you want them or not.
Right.
They offer them all. And I think that's what this is. This is an alternative to that. It's not so much that they offer one thing. It's that they offer everything. And that's what a lot of people look for when they go out and shopping for fixes to their business problems.
To their IT basically issues or problems or what kind of solution they want. Yeah. So I just thought it was cool that this entire city has converted over from Windows to Linux, and I've seen other major institutions Windows to Linux. I've like whole police departments and various other governmental establishments convert over to Linux. So I just thought Boomer's back and how they were able to reduce their IT costs by having lower hardware costs and saving money on not having to buy proprietary licenses. So, yay, Linux win. Linux for the win.
To add to that, Germany, not just this city in Germany, but Germany and that area of the world in general has really been making a pretty big move towards Linux, and a lot of some of the European nations also. And to add to that, if you there's an article on Wiki on it. So has the South American nations, and I think that's not only because they like Linux more. I think it's because they distrust United States companies even more. To be honest with you, I think that's a lot of that sentiment comes from that. Like even us in the USA don't trust Microsoft, so why would they trust? Why would they trust Microsoft?
Yeah, I know one of the things that you always mentioned that keeps businesses in the Windows environment Active Directory, and how dominant that tool is.
Yeah.
But I believe there are open source alternatives to Active Directory, like Apache DS, OpenDJ, 389 directory server. So there are, a lot of times there are open source solutions for your IT needs. So again, like I said, Linux for the win, baby. Free open source software. Go Linux.
Microsoft didn't establish themselves because they were better. Microsoft established themselves because of ruthless and aggressive business practices. I mean, if you know, like I grew up during the 80s and 90s when there was news story after news story of Microsoft, like completely devouring companies to the point where they had to get antitrust laws. Lawsuits. They were sued numerous times by the United States government for numerous reasons, just because they were just eating up the rest of the industry. They had to stop doing things like what was it? Something about Media Player or Internet Explorer, because people said there wasn't.
Oh yeah, they would package when they packaged Internet Explorer in with the operating system.
Yes.
That was, I remember there was a big issue in the news about that.
Yeah,
Which
because
they
which they still do, because Firefox said that wasn't fair, and some smarter consumers said that wasn't fair because I feel like I don't have much of a choice. But you really don't have much of a choice. But here's the thing: you went and you paid for an environment. In that environment is included a browser. I mean, who would buy a desktop environment with no browser in it? Be for real. Like, some people are just not sensible. So if you did not like the environment that you was buying into, don't buy into that environment. You have OS X, you have FreeBSD, you have Linux. If you're some kind of old school nerd, you got Solaris or something like that. But Windows is what it is, for better or for worse. And that's why there is not only alternatives but open source alternatives. You got options. Don't blame Microsoft for it. Google is your friend now.
Yeah, I remember the huge. I'm just looking at the United States versus Microsoft Corp, and it was basically, because they were providing the Internet Explorer web browser software was bundled with Microsoft Windows, and bundling them let's see, that was responsible. That was the only reason the only reason that Microsoft won the browser war, like against Netscape Navigator. Remember that?
I don't believe that. Yeah,
Opera. And all
Navigator became Firefox, but I don't believe that, because when you buy an operating system, you're buying a complete experience. When in the day of age of networking, you don't want to boot up your computer and have no browser, do you? Like, what kind of sense does that make? I think people were arguing on behalf of the uninformed.
I think I'm getting.
Think you're getting
DDoSed again.
I think I'm getting DDoSed again or something, because I don't know if that's it, but I'm definitely You guys are breaking up, sounding all digital and everything. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So um, that pretty much covers the last, that topic about Goomer's Bach. And we just have one last topic, and we'll be done with the show. So hopefully this, the YouTube servers, the Google servers can hold up a little bit longer here. We have AMD announcing a new, which is a pretty big deal, and I'll let Osiris talk since he's the graphics card owner, and hopefully, he can fill us in on what's going on here.
Yeah, so it's not really a new driver per se. It's a new way of doing drivers. So basically right now there's an AMD proprietary driver and there's an AMD open source driver. So FGLRX and Mesa, and they pretty much exist separately. Now what AMD, I guess, is because to preface this article, what AMD did about 2012, I believe it was, they laid off their Linux driver developers, or fired them, or however you want to look at it, which told the rest of the world, hey, you know what, we either don't have the money or the time for this Linux stuff right now. But obviously AMD does have the thought in their head about Linux because they're a huge supporter of the open standards, many open standards, open source software, open standard hardware, and all that good stuff. So it looks like what they're trying to do is leverage their lack of money and manpower and contribute to the open source Linux kernel driver for AMD while they still develop their Catalyst drivers for AMD. And then if you are one of those neckbeards and you still say, hey, it's only going to be open source for me on this computer, you can still use the open source Mesa drivers for AMD. And that will be a completely separate thing. So you're going to have, at the bottom end, the AMD and the open source guys will work together, make the Linux kernel for AMD. Then they will fork to the open source and then the proprietary. The proprietary will provide you with the latest and the greatest in performance and everything from AMD, while the Mesa ones, or the open source ones, will be the reverse engineered open source stuff, I guess. I don't really know why you'd want to use that, but that's my personal opinion. But anyways, so that's a new way of doing drivers because nobody else really does it that way right now. Like NVIDIA is pretty much like, hey, this is our secret. You get none of this. And that's how most companies are, especially American companies. So, but the problem is that this will only be supported on future hardware. So that means even if you are fortunate enough to own a Hawaii-based processor, that would be the R9 290 and the R9 290X, you will not get this future support. And I'm guessing with the release of Windows 10, DirectX 12, this new driver development, this is called the Unified Driver Stack, that backwards compatibility is not a concern. Fixing what needs to be fixed future-wise is probably more of a concern corporate-wise, which leaves a bad taste in not just my mouth, I'm sure, but many AMD users' mouths that use Linux. And I have maintained the standpoint that AMD and the philosophy of Linux go hand in hand, and their ideas share a lot of the same idea. The way of thinking share a lot of the same ideas. I find this to be distasteful. Is the best way I could put this. But it is good news for the future of Linux. Bad news for the current people who use AMD. Is more or less now. And I did tweet Michael Larabelle, the editor and the writer of Phoronix, and he said it's just quite clear that there will still be development on the current Catalyst drivers, but we all know how that's been so far for the last few years. but all this developments that's going on with the unified driver stack will only be supported with the R9 300 series and up, more or less. So there you go, AMD people, users. That's what it's going to be for us for the future.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused by the article because it says the prototyping of the AMD GPU kernel driver was done with Sea Islands hardware, and the DRM driver is based on the existing Radeon DRM. So Sea Islands is which chip?
Sea Islands is Tonga, Hawaii. So basically, the R9 series of cards is the Sea Islands stuff. But
okay, all right, and then it says the AMD.
Oh no!
Fucking YouTube, damn it, Google, get your servers straightened out.
It's not them, it's you. You're getting attacked.
It can't be, is it? It can't be me.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah.
I don't have any new entries in my router log, so I don't know. It's still that same. It can't be. That was back at the last log I have is from 6:04 p.m. That was 2.5 hours ago. Why is my router log not updating?
I have no idea. You sound fine now, though.
All right, I don't know. I'm kind of confused. I was just trying to say, they talk about the prototyping of the AMD GPU was done with the Sea Islands hardware, and the DRM driver is based on the existing Radeon DRM. Then they say the AMD GPU kernel driver is only going to support new, unreleased hardware.
I was confused about that also.
Pirate Islands, right? The RX300 series.
Pirate Islands is the future series. And I was confused about that wording also. So I contacted Michael Larabelle via Twitter and asked him about all this. And so basically what I gathered by paraphrasing is that they're basing the future driver stack, that's the unified driver stack, on the current driver stack. But eventually there's going to be a fork. So if you're on the current drivers, or the current hardware, that would be the Hawaii, because they don't even really mention anything else, that's another thing that's totally ridiculous. Hawaii only consists of 290s and 290Xs. What about the 280s, the 270s, and the even the 7950 and the 79, all those GPUs are still very formidable and great GPUs. If you don't want to upgrade from a 7950, you don't have to. You shouldn't have to. It has way more than enough performance. Are you telling me that they're not going to support that either? That's what I don't quite understand. But basically, what he's saying is that the new unified driver stack will be based off the current kernels, and they will just grow it from there.
Okay.
That's what I got from him. So I don't quite understand this, and like I said, it sounds good, but how long should AMD users wait? And not only that, there's a lot of AMD users on Linux. Well, at least according to the Gaming on Linux poll, I think there was somewhere between 30 and 40% using AMD GPUs. That's a pretty significant part of the GPU market, monetary wise, financial wise. So this is totally and 100% great for the future, but unacceptable for now. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I hear you. It's like you said. I mean, how long do AMD users have to wait until the Linux driver are in line with offering? I mean, like you've said, NVIDIA is kind of close, at least. When you look at some benchmarks of some major games, from Linux and Windows, you're getting pretty close comparison on the NVIDIA side. Just, man, it's I don't.
There's a huge difference in company philosophy, implementation, etc.
Which like you've said repeatedly, AMD seems like they're more
in line.
Based around the open source ideology, with OpenCL and all this open source stuff. But yet there's I don't know. Why are their Linux drivers still
now you know how I
aren't
feel.
very good?
Capable of 200 and something miles. We'll say 240 miles per hour. But for whatever reason, it only does 60. 35.
No, 35.
Yeah, you're like, I spent $400,000 on this car, but it only does 35 miles an hour. Yeah. That's the type of frustration I feel.
Right.
This is not no regular car. This is not like it's a middle of the line car. This is not a medium car. It is AMD's flagship car, single GPU flagship car, period. Not only that, at even 1080 and definitely at higher resolutions, it still competes with NVIDIA's latest releases of cards. They're 980. So it's not even a slump of a car. It just doesn't work in Linux, period. That's the issue.
Yeah. I hear ya. So, that was pretty much our last topic for episode 8 of the Linux Tech and Gaming podcast. I apologize to all the viewers for the poor quality coming in and out. I don't know if it's a DDoSer or what the problem is. I'm not sure. Maybe hopefully in the future we can look at trying to figure out ways around this. I'll get my IP changed hopefully, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be the next podcast. I appreciate everybody coming, and we had a little bit of interaction in the comments, which was kind of neat. You can check down below in the description of the video for links to my Twitter and my YouTube. If you want to reach me, it is easiest to just tweet me. That's the quickest way to get a hold of me. Go ahead, Tomic.
I can be found on Twitter at the Atomic Ass. And yeah, go check out my YouTube channel. Links down in the description.
Yes. OSRREZ everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. I don't care. Just Google it, and you'll find me. And go check out my channel and subscribe and all that good stuff. That's all I got for you.
Reminder, we do have a Steam group that we started. The link is down in the description as well if you want to join our Steam group and just kind of, maybe mention what you're playing this week or whatever else and communicate with us that way as well. So that's it for this week's show. Again, hopefully we will see you next week at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Linux Tech and Gaming. If you're interested, we may be live streaming some Borderlands 2 right after this on either my Hitbox or my Twitch or both. So maybe we'll see you there. We'll see you next week, guys. Later.